Hello, my name is Dave Batson with PV Electronics. Today we're going to look at the 4 Vypyr series amplifiers from PV. One is the Vypyr 1, which is 20 watts. We have the Vypyr 2, which is 40 watts, and then the Vypyr 3 and the Pro series are all 100 watts. So if you want to zoom in here, we will get going on the amplifier. There are 4 inputs. One is for electric, 2 is for electric. What this could be useful for on a gig or at band practice is, say you have a Les Paul with 2 humbuckers, and then you have a Strat on number 2. You don't have to redo all your settings, you just are able to plug it in, hit a button, and you have a whole brand new amplifier set up. You can also use this amplifier for an acoustic amp. And then when you do this, and we'll get to that in a minute, but then all of a sudden it turns everything into an acoustic amplifier. Number 4 is for bass guitar. Traditionally, you haven't been able to use a standard guitar amplifier for bass because it's just not programmed for it and you could hurt the speaker, things like that. This is compensated for that. So what we're going to do next is move into the section for instruments and stomp boxes. For instruments, you can adjust it to play and make it a 12-string, or a sitar, or a synth, or a bass synth, or a baritone. You can totally bypass it, or if you want to use the stomp box side, you can make it into compression, wah pedal, auto wah, things like that. So then we're going to move to the amplifier section. This is where most of the people spend their time. This is the fun part that allows you to just have a ton of different amplifiers. We're going to go through a couple today. Our most popular amp is the 6505, which is the new version of the 5150 from back in the day. And this is the one that you're going to hear. Now I'm going to change it to the 6534, which is the same design, but with EL34s as a mod. Next we're going to move to the Triple X, a little more aggressive. Then you can get into a more clean sound with models of some twins. Say you want to add tremolo to that. If you want to make it a chorus instead. When you want to edit something, you just hit the edit button on the effects unit, and instead of these top buttons being your lows, mids, highs, things like that, what they do is they turn into what is labeled on the bottom, which is your 2 function buttons. So for chorus, it would be depth and rate. Had to think there for a second. Then you have your delay, which is already set into here. So if you wanted to turn the delay up. We also have the tap tempo. You also have the delay feedback, how many times it repeats. And then the same thing with the chorus. If you want to bury it in chorus. Very easy to edit. Very, very easy to edit. Next, we're going to look at the acoustic guitar. So now we plugged in an acoustic guitar. When you do that, if you can zoom in, as I said before, you choose the acoustic setting. Because of that, it automatically goes to some acoustic defaults. One is, on the amplifier, it goes to the acoustic, which is one of Peavy's products. So it has a nice round, fatter sound. Same guitar through our Trace Elliott patch. A little bit different EQ curve on that one. It also goes to the effects, which you can use. You know, you don't necessarily always, really want distortion on an acoustic guitar usually, so. Again, same thing applies if you want to edit. You just hit effects. It allows you to edit all of this area. If you don't, you just want to turn the low and high end up. Next, we're going to look at the bass guitar. Next, we've plugged in a bass guitar. Not many amplifiers that I know of, you can do all three and take one amp to a gig if you have to. You can also use these for preamps for the recording out. Again, this is a real useful tool. It's a kind of a guy who can play a bunch of different instruments. It's a perfect amplifier for him. If you want to zoom in here again, we have now chosen bass, since we're going to do that, and it automatically defaults over here to the bass section. And you have a couple different ones. Here's the Trace Elliott, which Peavy also owns. And again, unlike a lot of bass amplifiers, you can actually add effects to this. If you want, you can go over here and choose a stomp box and get kind of weird on the bass section side of things. If you'll see what this does on some patches, it goes red and green. That means there are two patches on one. Otherwise, if you want to just bypass that and go back to a standard bass.